There's no reason for Mike Bobo to be at Georgia. There's no reason for Kirby Smart to want him here. If he likes him that much, write him a check and let him go to buy a house on Lake Oconee with you. Give him the damn money out of your pocket. Well, Roger, how do you explain the Mike Bobo situation? It seems like a lot of Georgia fans really like him. And a lot of them really don't. It's divided. You, obviously, are the anti-Bobo camp, I presume, Roger. I'm not anti-anything off the bat, but when you provide reasons to be against something, yeah. Why would anybody want what Mike Bobo brings to your football team? Now, we can talk about talent, drop balls, this, that, play calls. Just consider the fact, Roger, that if you had a vested interest that required you to alter the performance of an offense to achieve a certain score, point shaving is what they call it. In that Notre Dame game, the over-under was 37. And it finished at 33, I believe. So that was an under win. For anyone who bet the under, they would have won. Okay? Nobody really talks about it, but that under bet is not everybody's favorite bet. I don't like talking about gambling. I hate the fact that it's a part of sports. A lot of people like that, but we don't cater to the gambling aspect of college football. We like it for the sport of it, but the gambling aspect is always lurking beneath the surface in all the games we watch, because it wouldn't be a sport if somebody hadn't wanted something to gamble on. Back in the day, every major sport we have now is just a reason and excuse to have bets. So betting's always going to be a part of the game. How do you keep the players and the coaches out of that? I mean, you can't. You can make rules and expectations, but there's ways to do end arounds and workarounds on anything. So let's just get right to the point. On this game, that under was achieved. And if you were decided ahead of time that that was something you were going to work at, and let's say you were in charge of calling the plays for one of the teams, and you decided you were going to bet on the under, the game behavior matched exactly what you would have done. Once Notre Dame got to 23, it was no longer a winnable bet if you won the game. And what happened? Nothing. The offense was shut down. Shut down. He's done that several times. He's done that several times in his career. Many times. I can list the games. I did videos about games where the offense shut down completely. That LSU blowout championship game, they lost 30 points. Still caught the under. Still caught the under in the championship game last year with Alabama. He's been here. Mike Bobo's been here 2 years. What's that like? 28 games? He's caught the under 25 times. 24 times, excuse me. That's a lot of unders for 2 years. And I tracked it the whole time he was with Bobo. The same thing. It's something that's always happened. Well, couldn't it be coincidence? Maybe he was a bad coordinator, doesn't score. That would add to that effect. It would. But why do you want a bad coordinator? Well, that's a good point. Go ahead and expound on what you found out or what you already know about particularly about the under bet. Roger. Well, the way that bet works is you put $100, you get $100 if it hits under. You put $1 million, you get $1 million. It's a 1-to-1 payout. Most sport gamblers like bigger odds. They like 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 10-to-1. Because most of us guys don't have $3 million to lay on a bet. But if you had that kind of lump sum and could get the bets placed, and you could control the outcome, it would be a money-making machine, I would imagine. So how would anyone actually do that, though? How would a college coach actually make that happen? Well, there's a million ways it could happen. We're speculating because we're not criminals. But if you could assure the outcome, you just have to use your imagination on how that could be profitable to you. And it looks like Bobo has certainly assured those outcomes. And you see, Roger, here's the thing. When I have that idea in my head, I've tracked it so many times, it's like all the other stuff just seems silly. Like Georgia's hitting the transfer portal. They think the problem is they didn't have good enough players. They probably didn't. It's great that they're getting better players. But when you come into a situation, and let's just hypothetically say that the guy comes into a program, gets hired as an offensive coordinator, and the particular team he got hired in was a great championship level team, good defense and a really good offense and good players and top recruiting. So your talent is there. But if you are premeditatedly going to hope to shave some points in every game, it's going to affect how you coach. It's going to affect how you evaluate. It's going to affect how you run your entire operation. Everybody around you thinks they're building a football team, but you, since you don't want the offense to always pop, you want it to have problems, controllable problems. And Georgia has suffered a dramatic rise in injuries. Brock Bowers was injured a lot last year. He wasn't used very well. You understand, Mike Bobo didn't want Deshaun Watson. He doesn't like big playmakers because that ruins the gig. Now everybody's got the tinfoil hats on now. But when you suspect that's the case, all the other stuff is silly because it means nothing. Yeah, there's a football reason that you can point to for every shortcoming, but that the root cause is that's intentional. There's no future in that. And you need to get that guy out if that's what's happening. And you need to get him out if that's not what's happening because he's a bad coordinator. There's no reason for Mike Bobo to be at Georgia. There's no reason for Kirby Smart to want him here. If he likes him that much, write him a check and let him go to buy a house on Lake Oconee with you. Give him the damn money out of your pocket. Speculating, Roger, that there's perhaps some sort of scheme to throw gobs of money on that particular item, the under, and then a massive payout. Well, yeah, it could happen. I don't know how you would actually negotiate that, but say somebody associated with the program and has some influence hasn't been doing something similar for a half a century. And maybe Mike Bobo is just the best tool. Now you're getting in tinfoil hat territory. That's a scary thing to think that the school or some big booster with influence would have that much power over the university. And you know, like a lot of times, you can still catch the under and win the game. But if you're playing a championship game and you've got 10 million sitting on the table hoping to make an extra 10 million, and let's hope it's not a huge number like 30 million or $1 billion, who knows? You're not going to let that get away just to win a game. You wouldn't. I think Georgia has been a victim of something, and I don't know that it'll ever come to light, but there's no way that Georgia can survive unless they at least get rid of Bobo, and if it's something bigger, then we'll have to wait and see on that one. Roger, all summer we get information and we share it. We don't make up anything. We don't have exclusive access to knowledge. We have to get it from somewhere. We research a lot. But the overall theme all off season last year was how explosive this Georgia offense was going to be. I understand how that works. The media and sports, they see one thing and they multiply it. But that that happened. We didn't have an explosive offense. We had a train wreck. And now they're going into the portal and trying to get everything they should have had this year. But they did that last year. And last year they were raving about the receivers they had. The receiving room was the best in the country. 5 quarterbacks. The line is outstanding. Physically, Mike Bobo's son, four-string center for that team. You don't think that has something to do with the line misbehaving? You ever seen how giddy he gets when he talks about his boy? He likes that more than he likes not scoring touchdowns. You don't think a coach that has the ear of Kirby Smart isn't trying to push his boy up that offensive line chart? Have you ever been around a football team? You know that an offensive line is like a unit. If you don't have unity, you may as well forget it. And how can you have unity when one of the major coaches is trying to get his boy up the depth chart? Well, you got to have guys make mistakes for you to go up. So it was no brainer the offensive line was terrible. Sorrells was a friend of Bobo's. All these friends of Bobo's have gotten into the program because Kirby invited them in. And now the mansion has termites. Well, Roger, if you were correct in your hypothesis, it must be really frustrating when you listen to some of the fans who defend Bobo. They defend Bobo and they rationalize the things that he does. It's maddening. It's maddening because, first of all, that's part of what makes Mike Bobo work is he has a way of making himself, endearing himself to the people that matter. This guy is possibly the most narcissistic human on the planet. But if he wants you to like him, he knows how to make you like him. He talks the talk, call a few plays, mess a game up, and take a big bet. That's not what he's doing. He's basically getting a culture where he can count on what he needs to happen. And Mark Richt was a victim, and it looks like Kirby Smart is just another victim. It's almost as if a vampire stares them into the eye and bites their neck and sucks the life out of their program, out of their coaching career, and then at some point the cadaver's tossed and he has to find a new host. Unfortunately, Georgia brought this guy back. Thank you, Roger, for speaking your mind, because I know that you were working on this before I actively jumped in to help you with this particular video platform. We've always been partners in many ways, but we decided to go whole hog on this at some point. But you did all this by yourself, and you did a lot of research, and Obviously, it offended a lot of people, but nonetheless, I fully support your freedom to say what you believe. Uh, and so we'll continue more topics on this subject because it's very possible that Roger is on the money, so to speak. But we'll never know, and people don't like to speculate on things like that. But the good thing is he'll probably go away on his own, and Georgia will be safe again from the vampire that attacked Georgia twice. Roger, until we meet again, the best of all worlds, and to you all, ta ta.